Hello,
Hello.
Tristan.
Hey, Emil. How you doing?
I'm very good. Welcome back to the Sunday sessions. I think it's like episode 12 now.
Definitely been a few of them, hasn't there?
Yes, it has. It has.
It's good though.
Uh,
It's like it's turned into kind of like a landmark in the week. You know,
yes.
when every day sort of starts to feel the same. Um, I kind of cling to 2 p.m. on Sundays as the sort of
Yeah.
it's like the beginning and the end of the weekly calendar is this
Yeah.
moment.
Yeah. Exactly. It's like back in the days when the people just looked at the sun or the moon and didn't put out. It's the same thing with the Mackmyra now.
Exactly.
Yeah. So people that hasn't seen us before, welcome back to this, or welcome to the Sunday sessions. Me and Tristan Stephenson have been doing this for about 12 weeks. If you don't know Tristan since before, he's a legend in the business and the author of the Curious book series that is all about spirit, coffee, like anything you can drink, really. I don't know if like the last Curious books will be the Curious Waters.
Yeah, exactly. At some point, I'm going to run out of spirit, so I'll have to move on to like beer, and then it'll be like orange squash, and then finally we'll finish with water.
Yeah, or just
That,
pulp,
yeah,
the pulp edition. Yeah, so if you don't know Tristan by now, just go into Amazon or any good page that you can buy a book and start off with the Curious Bartender and go from there. It's a great tip for me and one of my favorite books. And but he also the owner of Black Rock, the
yes.
best whiskey bar in the world, right?
Well, I don't know about that, but it has been awarded best UK specialist bar for 3 years in a row. So there's definitely something in it. But yeah, we got Black Rock in London. We've got one in Bristol as well. Obviously closed at the moment, but they're specialist whiskey bars and designed to be all about celebrating whiskey diversity, um, and indeed whiskey drinker diversity as well. We believe that whiskey is for everyone, and democratizing it and making it accessible is a big part of our mission statement. So we're hopefully back open soon and doing that good work again.
Yeah, we hope so too. So, and that's why we started the Sunday sessions in the beginning to give something back, especially to Black Rock or the community in the whole. So if you go into mackmyra.co.uk and buy a bottle of Brooks whiskey, you get a discount, and that discount goes directly back to Black Rock. So use that promotion code Black Rock when it says promotion code. It's not that hard to fill it in. And we sold some bottles during a couple of weeks, so we hope you get something back in the
Yeah.
end. Today we're trying on the Brooks whiskey. We tried Brooks whiskey before. I actually read some old reviews today about the Brooks whiskey from when it was released in 2011. It was actually made for cocktails. Or like when Mackmyra spoke about it, they wanted to be in cocktails. I don't think that is the leading point now, though. But we can probably, if we taste it, we could probably feel like why it should be in cocktails because it's so driven on some few flavors.
Yeah. It's a great whiskey.
It is, and I think you always talked about when we did Brooks whiskey the last two times, it's apple and vanilla that is like the most common things here.
Sure, orchard fruit, vanilla on the aromatic side of things.
Mm-hmm.
But on the taste, it's just a really nice balance of sweet and spice. You get both, and that's not often not the case in malts. They tend to sort of gravitate towards one or the other. Same with American whiskey as well. It's either really sweet or it's really peppery.
Yeah.
Whereas this has just got a nice balance of both, which is always going to be a great springboard for mixing drinks with.
Yeah. And we just celebrated midsummer here in Sweden.
Oh
yeah. So it's a whole country with 10 million people that is completely hungover for about 3 days now.
Does it go on? Is it just a one night thing, like just Midsummer Night, or is it like a more like a sort of 2, 3, 4 week long process?
No, I think the process to get there is even harder to when we actually are there, because people is getting like a little bit nervous. They don't know where to go, But it ends up that everybody has a big party in all the like in gardens everywhere. Especially like this is I'm 33 years old now. This is the best weather ever during a midsummer.
Oh wow, that's good.
Yeah, so I think I don't know if anyone from Sweden was not outside on Friday.
Oh well, that's good. I mean, the current situation is perfect for that, really, isn't it? Since you're not supposed to be, ideally not supposed to be stuck too close to people. Yeah,
Exactly.
I mean, whenever I think of Swedish midsummer, I do imagine obviously very long days. You know, green grass pastures, lots of flowers, and people kind of dancing around in some sort of pagan style, and drinking a lot.
Yeah, I heard you seen a movie about it.
Yeah. Yeah, well, here's an opportunity for anyone who's watching who's seen Midsummer the movie. Now we have a real Swedish person who can correct all of the kind of suggestions that actually, if you go to Swedish Midsummer, you're likely to be. Well, I won't even list the things that happen because it's pretty horrific.
Yeah, so it's kind of the same thing, but in real life here. But it's not horrific in that way. It's just weird. Like we just do weird things, and I think if it is something that you really need to see in Sweden, like if you have 365 days to choose from, I think the Midsummer Eve is the best one to come to.
All right, well, I'm gonna come next year.
Yes.
So you can be my guide. Even though I've seen that film, I'm still courageous enough to risk it. I like the idea of the drinking bit for sure. That's exciting. So
that's 98% of the whole thing with Midsummer.
Great. So I'm in.
The whole pagan thing is just 2%, so it's not that hard.
It might not seem that weird to me, you know, because I'm from Cornwall in the southwest, and we have some quite old traditions, many of them based on old pagan stuff as well. In fact, the May Day festival in Cornwall is not dissimilar to Midsummer. I don't think everyone dresses in white and dances around on the first of May and sort of welcomes in the sunshine and the potential for the season's harvest and all that kind of stuff. I think there's probably some crossover there.
Yeah, I think it's the same thing. Because in Sweden, if you have like 7 flowers and you put it under the pillow, you'll find the love of your life.
That's ideal.
I don't think it's ever worked for anyone. But the thing that we drank when we woke up during Saturday, because people still wake up, but it's in different places. We actually had some Brooks whiskey with grape juice and a hint of lemon.
Nice.
And it was obviously we had more to choose from, but I thought let's try it, because I tried like grape juice and Brooks whiskey before, more like a cordial, a hint of salt, but the ice, we didn't have any ice, so we thought just go with it, and it actually worked great.
Yeah, like a sort of, I mean, you think about like a wine, they don't have to be freezing cold, like icy cold, right?
No. But this was so good. It was like, even though it was pretty warm on Saturday, this was just great. Like everybody was like, okay, perfect. Especially
and you didn't drink so much of it that you can't stomach it now either.
No, I'm good. This is the same bottle. No, it's not. It's a new one. Fuck. Yeah, but yeah. But last time you did something with apples, right?
Yeah, I did. So this time I'm doing 2 for the price of 1. Although one drink is not necessarily going to be that nice, and I'll explain why. We were talking about Brooks. You were talking about Brooks whiskey and how a Brookstown is basically an industrial town, a town that kind of specializes in one thing. And we spoke about this last time, and we were messaging today about how cocktails were affected by the Industrial Revolution. And what changed during that period from the sort of late 18th century to the late 19th century. So what I wanted to do is literally demonstrate the same drink made 100 years apart, just to show to everyone listening how much cocktails evolved due to ingredients and technology during that period of the Industrial Revolution. So I'm going to get this out of the way. Right, so I've got 2 glasses. I'm going to make the same drink in each glass. I actually wanted to have an older fashioned sort of 18th century glass, but I don't have one in my house. But this drink here is going to be made in the year 1780. Okay, and this one here is going to be made in 1880. All right, so 100 years apart, basically the same drink. And that drink is a Sling, which is a Sling is, everyone thinks a Singapore Sling, which is a long fruity drink made with gin. A Sling is really a kind of super simple cocktail. In fact, the definition of a cocktail in the early 19th century was a bittered Sling. That tells us that a Sling is comprised of only 3 ingredients, that being spirit, sugar, and water. So I'm going to make a Sling circa 1780 in this glass right now. Okay, I'm going to use my Brooks whiskey. Put a large measure, 50 ml. Okay, I'm going to put in my sugar, which is an unrefined sugar. This is actually coconut sugar, but this is indicative of the kind of sugar you might have had in the 1780s. So quite dark, quite coarse, with quite a lot of character and flavor to it. Maybe a little bit of that molasses, sort of licoricey kind of flavor. I'll pop that in there. Give it a stir. And then we're going to top up with water.
Nice. I think Sling, the word Sling is from Germany, right?
Oh, is it? I didn't know that.
Yeah, I think it's Schlingen, which means it's quick.
Ah, right. Well, there you go. It is pretty quick. I didn't know that. Good fact. So there you go. That is a Sling, circa 1780. It would be difficult to make it in any more of a fancy way than that, just due to the limitations of what would have been around at that time. And,
yeah,
you know, it's an all right drink, really. It's sort of sweet. You definitely got the whiskey flavor coming through. You got the water. Well, there's 2 things that are historically inaccurate about what I've just made. One is the glass is just way too nice. It would have likely been a hand-blown glass. It would have been, you know, lopsided probably, and thicker. And the other thing that's inaccurate is the quality of the whiskey, to be frank. There's no chance on earth you would have got a whiskey like Brooks whiskey in the 1780s. In fact, the chances are a whiskey in the 1780s would have been unaged or aged for a very small amount of time in a barrel, just because barrels were used to store everything. And the quality of the distillate would have also been far, far inferior compared to this. It would have been rough and ragged around the edges. So there you go, 1780 Sling. 1880 Sling. Right, well, let's start with our Brooks whiskey again. A decent measure of that in there. Okay, now we've also got ice we can add to this. Okay, because although ice has been around for many millennia, you know, you can scrape ice off the top of lakes and you can ship it down from the Arctic, as was common in the early 19th century. Commercial ice machines, that is, machines that can manufacture ice, didn't come along until the 1840s, 1850s. Okay, so we're actually afforded the luxury of adding ice to our drink, which is really nice because it's going to keep it cold. Now sugar, well, sugar came along a long way in that time. It was one of the beneficiaries of the Industrial Revolution. Refining sugar became a more precise art. Much more advanced technological equipment was invented to better refine sugar, including vacuum pans and centrifuges, which are still used to this day to make white table sugar. So that was sometime around the 1840s that the first vacuum pan centrifuge sugar manufacturers made. So that means you can start making nice, clean, crisp, sweet syrups. Additionally, around the same time, we start to see better technology in the manufacture of essential oils and extracting flavors from ingredients. So something along the lines of this rose syrup may have been made around that time. So we're going to put a little splash of rose syrup in there. Then we've got the invention of the steamboat in 1811. Steamboats were super important because they were used to transport ingredients all around Europe. which meant that exotic imported ingredients became a lot cheaper, a lot easier to source, and more readily available, such as vermouth. I'll put a little bit of dry vermouth in there. And that's why you see the rise of vermouth-based cocktails in the 1860s, 1870s, such as the Martinez, the Manhattan, and so forth. Give that a little bit of a stir. Now, we could just top that up with water, of course, but why add water when you can add soda water? Now, soda water was first, or carbonated drinks were first made in the 1760s by Joseph Priestley, but they were very much an scientific endeavor at that time. And the first carbonated commercially available drinks didn't come around until about 1819, and the first bottled carbonated drinks around about 1860. So with fizzy water, we can add something a little bit more lively to our Sling, as such. And we'll give that a stir. And so there you have it. We have a Sling. I forgot to have a garnish for this one, but I probably could have used any type of tropical fruit, citrus fruit, which would have been much harder to come by in the UK, at least back in 1780, and much easier to come by on account of transatlantic transportation or transportation from the southern Mediterranean to the UK. So a little bit of citrus peel or something like that would have worked really nicely. So you see, we've gone from this kind of murky, you know, pond watery, I mean, it actually tastes all right, to be fair. You put some ice in there, it'd be quite nice. Drink in the 1780s, right through to something with clarity of flavor, with a combination of ingredients sourced from all over the world, with fizz, with ice to keep it cold. And so that, cheers, is the effect that the, oh, and also, did you notice what I was keeping my ice in? That was a cocktail shaker. There was no cocktail shakers in 1780. Cocktail shaker was invented in 1884. So even shaken drinks was difficult to do until the late 19th century and towards the end of the Industrial Revolution. So the Industrial Revolution, although you know, it had some effects that are you know, not great to shout about, it was undoubtedly the making of mixology.
Awesome. And speaking of mixology, why don't we bring Moe and Dan from Barcelona, the Two Schmucks.
Hello.
Hi guys.
Good. How are you?
Yeah, good. We're feeling very flowery today.
Yeah.
We decided to dress up as old Americans going on cruise ships so that we can sail back to 1842 and invent cocktail shakers.
Did you celebrate Midsummer, Mo?
Sorry?
Did you celebrate Midsummer?
Yeah. As a matter of fact, now that you mention it, that too. No, I didn't celebrate it here. It's a little bit weird when you go out to bars here. No one knows what the rules are, but bars are open, and we're going to hopefully open next Friday.
And it's not quite legal to kill old dying people by throwing them off mountains in Spain. It's a bit illegal compared to Sweden. So it's not, you know, it's not quite a thing.
Oh, you've seen that film. You've seen that film.
Yeah, yeah. Funnily enough, fun fact, actually, my whole family's pagan. So you've actually got a pagan on the show. How's that for diversity?
Nice. Then we actually got some diversity.
You know, not much killing old people in my version of paganism, but that's okay.
Wait, is that what happened in that movie?
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're killing old people.
Well, not just, they killed everyone.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's just one of the things they do. The killing of the old person is like a little appetizer for the rest of the for the chaos.
You know, in Cornwall, it's killing of people who haven't read The Curious Bartender.
Yeah, well, no, you've got it the wrong way around. We try to kill people that have, so that the people who haven't can still potentially buy it.
That's business 101 right there.
How to curb the exponential rise of the population of the globe. You know, sustainability. On trend.
Dude, I noticed that on the back of this bottle, when they describe the flavors, the way they describe it, they're mentioning Piggelin.
Yeah.
That's awesome. That a whiskey bottle just like, how should we describe this flavor? And instead of trying to sound like these super complicated people, they're like, well, you know that ice cream we all had when we were kids? It tastes a bit like that.
Yeah. So it's like the most classic ice cream that we have in Sweden called the Piggelin. And it's
What
still
flavor is it?
It's kind of
It's-
Again?
It's like a pear flavor.
Okay.
melon and pear.
Yeah, pretty
Super
much.
synthetic. It's really good.
When I was a kid, we used to have a story about Swedish ice cream called Three Little Piggelins. And the three little Piggelins built three little Piggelin houses. And then the evil midsummer guy came over and then blew all the little Piggelin's houses down. And one Piggelin's house was made of straw, and the other one was made of straw, and then the other one was made of bones of dead old maid people in midsummer, and he survived. It was cool.
Yeah.
It was a cool story. It
We
was in
still
Svenska.
tell our kids that. It's a very good story.
Yeah.
Eat your Piggelin.
Yeah.
Dude, this is a good whiskey though.
It is.
Where
It's
does
really-
it, of all the Mackmyras, where does it fall on like the price, or where do they put it? Is it like more of the entry one or the middle or more of
In the
higher
middle.
one?
So it's very in the middle. Yeah.
Okay.
So it's like, I think it's 50 euro ish, depending on where you are in the world, because it's a little bit different. But in Sweden, it's like 45 euro to 50 euros. And
Yeah.
this is, and the Brooks whiskey is also like a mixture of everything we tried before. So it's 200 liters of it. It's a first fill or a bourbon cask. But then we also use the Swedish oak that we talked about before. And we
Yeah.
also have some Oloroso in it. And also some Pedro Jimenez. So it's a mixture of a lot of good things from Mackmyra that it's gone down to this.
Yeah.
So it's kind of stand out in that kind of way because it's a blend of all the good single malts that we have.
But it was one of the first ones that was it? It's an old one, right? It's been around for a while. Is that correct?
Yeah, it's 10
So
years
is it
old,
evolved? Has it changed a bit over the years then, since like the Swedish oak stuff's been integrated, or is that
Yeah. So, but like Angela, the master blender, she says it's kind of the same thing. It's not that kind of a big like because the bourbon cask is still 5 years that they've been matured. So the flavors is not that big of difference, but I think like how the whole bottle and everything changed, the attitude around it has changed more than the actual spirit. But I think the attitude is more a more relaxed whiskey now than when it came.
Yeah.
And especially the
That's what I
Swedish
like
oak.
about whiskey, attitude.
Swedish
What?
attitude.
Yes.
That's what I like. You know, that's how do you describe Swedish attitude?
It's a passive aggressive.
You might
So-
like me. You have taste. Is that passive aggressive? English is my second language. Midsummer. Okay, cool.
I think pushing people off cliffs is probably Swedish aggression. Attitude.
Yeah, it's a Swedish invention together with IKEA. Kind of the same thing.
I think like in Sweden, when you're pissed off at someone, it's very common to leave notes.
Yes,
Well, that's very passive aggressive.
it is.
Right? Like you just leave a note, like your neighbor won't come down and knock on your door and speak to you about the sound
Never.
you make last night, but he will leave a note
Oh,
from
I mean,
anonymous neighbor.
Don't you
yeah,
think
that's the
potentially
definition of passive aggression.
Tristan Stephenson's book about the curious bartender is passive aggressive note to the industry to get their shit together. That could be it, right? Are you Swedish, Tristan?
It's so simple. Why aren't you guys doing this?
Do you know what? Next book I write, I'm going to do, when I do like the foreword, I'm gonna include that as a. You may remember my 2014 book, The Curious Bartender. I look back on that now as a passive aggressive note to an industry that needs to sort its act out.
You gotta name drop Daniel Nevsky now in that book.
I'll
That's how
drop
we
down
do
in
it.
there.
Yeah.
Just me though, no one else. Just want to make sure that. You know? And then if you scratch, you can do that whole thing like the guys from Cards Against Humanity do, where there's like you can, they all leave these little hidden clues in their products, and you can have a little scratch and peel thing underneath that, and then that note saying, by the way, Tony C, haha, fuck your legacy, I'm better.
Wait. How do you know that's already not in one of my books?
No. That was just talking about legacy and how you're like the next great godfather of the industry, and he's a wife beater, whatever. Moving on, Rook's whiskey, right? It's the blue collar whiskey of Sweden, right? Very good.
Yes, it is.
And do you have a white collar whiskey?
What?
Do you have is it white collar? Is that what they say? Do you have a white collar whiskey?
A white collar.
No, we only have blue collar. White collar is a Swedish dog. It's completely different.
So good. I'm so happy we're here. So I was told that this week's test was to make it old fashioned, if I am correct.
Yes, you had the old fashioned test. Yes.
Oh, so he got the Sling.
So we had old fashioned.
Okay, so
we thought that everyone was doing an old fashioned.
All right, so let's okay.
Sling's basically the same as an old fashioned anyway, right?
I'm ready.
Yeah.
Have you got ice? You might get it.
Yeah.
So since I had to make an old fashioned alongside. Your one's not even an old fashioned anyway. It doesn't really matter.
It is an old fashioned.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, with the ascorbic acid. That's really. Anyway, so one of the tests that happens every week is that I see if I can get banned by email from future live streams by saying nonsensical things and generally offensive, but that somehow works in my favor instead. I don't know why. But the drink I'm going to make you today, here we go, in the middle, perfect, is going to be a twist on an old fashioned. An old fashioned traditionally is spirit, sugar, bitters. So I've got spirit, sugar, and I have, where is it? There you go. Bitters. Yeah, and I don't have a name for this drink, but it's got some funky ingredients in it. Of course, we have the blue collar whiskey. I'm gonna free pour this like a very famous bartender called Salvatore Calabrese, because we don't have jiggers in this apartment. So there's that. Oh, that's pretty good. I would say that's 50 ml. I would argue. Then we don't have. We have a pan full of ice. So I'm just going to put some ice into my mixing glass. And while the whiskey spills on the side, that's a tradition in Sweden called Engelskärskensk. And that's just to share with the angels. Germany? Oh, yeah. Okay, yeah. And that's just for the drop for your homies. You have to pour one out for your midsummer homies that you murdered yesterday.
Daniel, what's your recipe for ice in the pan? How do you make that on the stove?
It's very good, right? What you do is you go to an ice machine and you put the ice in the pan, and then you put the pan in the fridge, which already has cubes of ice in it. So the bottom cubes stick because metal is very good at conducting cold. Thank you, Mo.
I got you.
I'm using a syrup here that I made myself, which has got lots of ingredients in it. I call it Jesus syrup. It's got Jesus on it. That's because
Blood of Christ.
Yeah, pretty much. It's got a combination of sugar, like sort of white sugar, raw cane sugar, MSG. I'll do it the way Tristan does it. So in the 4th century, there was seaweed. And then in the 19th century, some guy from Japan managed to make powder out of that seaweed. And then in the 20th century, they made MSG, which stands for monosodium glutamate.
Is that how they made MSG?
Yeah.
Is that real?
Yeah. No. I'm using part I don't remember the dates, but it sounds cooler when you say centuries.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was like 1912 or some shit. Some professor synthesized it, mass-produced it. It became a powder.
The trick is to just say the dates really quickly, and then no one can no one quite caught what the date was, so you'll get away with it, you know.
Perfect. So half a tablespoon of this MSG syrup with other stuff in it as well. This is subject to change based on what I can taste. And I've got teapot bitters, which I got for free, and that's why they're here today. And they go well with this whiskey. A free pour of that, because apparently they don't do drops with this packaging. I'll do the Salvatore, don't stir, give it a little, like, what do they call this?
Whisk.
Churn.
A churn. Churn. There you go.
Turn.
There you go. And then you know what, just, there you go. So stir it with the glass, with the ice. Goes down well. And we have a strainer, right?
No.
Excellent. Once it's dilute, I'm not sure that's diluted at all to the right requirement. Needs a bit more sugar.
We got ice now, though.
Yeah, we got ice.
We're getting there. Professional.
Where did that hand come from? What the fuck?
Which hand?
That's my hand model. I was born not far from Chernobyl, but you don't realize I have a third leg that's shaped like an arm, and it's hairier than the rest of me in a different color.
So give guy the two thumbs.
Dan, I don't think that is called a leg.
Depends what you use it for. Isn't your nickname in the Kit Kat Club in Berlin Emil the Third Leg? And that's what is that referencing?
Stuff on the fourth leg.
As you can tell, I have perfect skills because it's perfectly less than one finger perfect. And I guess you have to try this.
Yeah. All right. So what do we got? We got the whiskey. We got your MSG syrup.
Jesus syrup, which has got MSG in it, which everybody thought gave you cancer, but it doesn't. But you can be a little bit allergic to it. It's called Chinese restaurant syndrome. That's a real thing. I've got teapot bitters and I've got whiskey.
So
it's looking pretty good.
It's nice.
Slightly savory, old-fashioned, then, really.
Yeah, there's a bit of spice to it. Is that the teapot bitters?
Yes, teapot bitters.
Yeah, like the cardamom.
It never tells you.
You put like 25 ml in by accident, didn't you?
Yeah.
25 mil. I'd say it's a healthy cut. Anyway, so the point of this drink is to stay traditional, sustainable, and fashion. I think that the flavors of teapot bitters go really well with it. It doesn't take anything away from the whiskey, and my cancer-giving MSG Jesus syrup is a syrup I made based on a book by a guy called Duggan McDonald, who argues, and him and Tristan as both writers can duke it out in their next books. He argues that, and I quite like this argument, if sugar is such a big part of a lot of these drinks, why not create a syrup that's just a classic normal sugar syrup, but that aims at enhancing other flavors? So I try to take that and take it to the next level. So this has got gum arabic, salt, MSG, 2 types of sugar, water, and it's fortified with just 50 ml of Fino sherry per liter.
Oh, it sounds really good, actually.
It's really nice. And everybody slags me off for it because they think I'm an asshole. And you know how you put something online and then there's always that one guy who needs to grammar correct you and sort of this thing. So this thing is like, oh, this is a sugar syrup. With this is the idea behind it. It's not a sugar syrup because sugar syrup only has water and sugar. And then it turns into a shit show. Welcome to the internet, guys. There's cats. So that's the idea. That's pretty good.
Dan, it sounded that guy was from the US.
Say again?
It sounded that one guy was from US.
Every single person who criticizes me, I make them sound like a valley girl from LA going out to get their mocha chocolate. Like everyone, because everyone sounds stupid when they sound like that. So that's how I do it.
Nice.
Yeah.
Basically everyone that criticizes Dan is stupid. Is what he's trying to say.
If you were the Daily Mail, you can spin that any way you like.
That'd be quite a fun thing to do on Facebook or whatever. If every time someone criticizes you, just record them that statement sounding like a valley girl from California, and then post that up so they have to listen to themselves back in that voice.
Yeah. Someone should
will
make that into a
probably
website where you can just put in whatever text you want to, and it will be like a Valley girl saying it.
I'm just gonna wait for Tristan's next status where he writes something. Oh my god, like an 1814 they invented shakers. Like, what the fuck? That's definitely happening. I'm sorry, Tristan, but that's too good an idea.
I'm gonna go ahead and make my drink now, which is totally an old fashioned. It's just made with a cordial. So, I mean, I don't know. Is that still an old fashioned?
It's definitely not old fashioned, is it? But it is, I guess, kind of, yeah.
You know,
get with the program, guys. Change. Obama won the election with that. Stop being traditionalist. Stop being regressive.
I'm gonna say that that's 50 right now. That's not 50 ml. What is your free pour answer?
Mine was 50 ml.
Is this 50 ml?
No, that's not 50.
Do you think it's more?
I think that's
not 50.
40?
No, that's 30.
Oh, you can see me from there. God damn, I suck at free pouring.
Not a real bartender.
All right, so we got somewhere between 45 and 65 ml of whiskey. And then we're going to get rid of the Jesus syrup. And what I did is that, so you can easily do like a vegetable oil syrup, whether that's like whatever oil you want. In this one, I'm using a roasted peanut oil syrup. But if you do the syrup 2-to-1, the oil doesn't separate, right? So you can easily do a syrup that's flavored with any vegetable oil that you want. Simply by doing it 2-to-1, there's enough sugar in it to make sure that the oil is sticks to it. So I mix that with a little bit of citric acid and banana. So it's like a peanut, banana, slightly sour cordial-ish. I'm going to, I don't know how to...
Can I ask, sorry, Mo, but Tristan, do you still do that peanut butter old-fashioned?
Peanut butter and jam, yeah, old-fashioned. Yeah. But we redistill whiskey with peanut butter, and then cut it back with more whiskey. Yeah, peanut and whiskey's peanuts. I eat shitloads of peanut butter anyway, but peanut, any kind of nut, or even certain kind of like nutty spices, just goes so well with whiskey, because you get a lot of that stuff comes from the barrel anyway, in whiskey. So you're just kind of amplifying those things.
Yeah. Have you tried a lot of because you have a lot of the Marcona almonds and everything in Spain? Have you tried a lot of working with that, Mo?
I mean, we do the horchata we do is pretty nice due to the almonds that we get here. The ones that haven't been roasted yet, that you can do these amazing horchata with. That's pretty dope. But this is this peanut oil is more from like an Asian shop, where you can really taste the flavor of roasted peanuts in the oil, and it really smells like peanuts. It's similar to like a strong sesame oil, where that it tastes and smells like sesame. And then I'm gonna put some chocolate bitter. So we got banana, peanut butter, and chocolate, which was Elvis's favorite flavor. So we're gonna call this "Taking Care of Business," TCB. TCB. That was the saying, right?
Taking care of business. I was gonna say call it the Velvet Elvis, which is a famous painting.
Velvet Elvis.
Yeah.
And then we're gonna do a method that was known before Corona, which is taking the ice by your hands, just putting some in there. And we're gonna do.
I noticed that you're using glass to store your ice compared to a saucepan. Like, what do you see? Sort of benefit
we can't give glass to the peasants over here. We gotta keep that shit for us nice folks. Folks with an X.
Folks with an X. That's the new thing.
We're gonna give that a nice little stir. And then, all right.
Folks with an X sounds like a dance band from Sweden, Mo.
Sorry?
Folks with an X sounds like a weird dance band from Sweden.
All right? Like one of those from like Kiruna or something.
Yeah, some fucking weird shit.
That's for you to try.
All right, here we go. I feel like I'm
protected to not let you spit it in my face.
That's good. That's good.
That's good.
That's,
You heard the Russian. You heard the Russian.
In Soviet Russia, peanuts drink you. It's very nice. Stir them more. Sip it more.
Great job, guys.
Oh, the balance of shit.
Guys, always fun to see you. I think like next Sunday, I talked to Mackmyra and they want us to do, because like we're doing a lot of creative cocktails and everything, but they want us to show us what we think a Swedish whiskey sour is. So we actually get like some competition now from them. They were like, "Can you do a Swedish whiskey sour?" And I said,
I'm
like,
so
"I'm
going
the
to
one that
IKEA
can
to buy
actually do
dime
it."
cake. Garnish it with a dime.
Oh my God.
I'm so
Or
doing that.
dill.
That's it. Yeah.
Dan, Emil, Dan just recently got into dime cake because he went to IKEA and he bought one. And then he came and asked me if I'd ever tried dime cake. And it was like, I mean, I don't know for you guys. For me, dime cake, that was like every birthday. Every birthday,
yeah.
it was like a little dime cake there.
But
Which is just
I think we should teach them that also when you take it in diamond in Sweden, you can go back to the city where you were last time when you were the foreign correspondent. But if you take it in the dime, it's anal.
If you take it in a dime.
Yeah,
Wait, I don't know about that.
No, of course you don't, but I do.
We're waiting for you to finish the story.
either he's gone very still or we've lost him.
Yeah, I think so. Oh shit! Yeah, he did go still. I thought he was just staring into the camera. I was like, all right, this is a creepy pause.
He's still waiting for us to get the joke.
Oh, and he's gone.
Oh no! It's like the kids have been left alone at the party.
No longer with us. There's anarchy. The people are taking over.
So, guys, welcome to
the new show.
Welcome to the new show. This is called Mackmyra and Me. It's a version of Farley and Me.
Moe and Daniel in the morning. Today we have Tristan as a guest.
Tristan, tell us more about your battle with testicular cancer.
Well, I now have to wear shorts for every broadcast.
I was going to say, you reminded me of Spaniard for Copenhagen. Your thighs, look at them. Runner's thighs. Very good.
Mate, they're well sculpted.
Well sculpted. I am like a Greek god. We should discuss current events. Let's talk about current events.
Dude, how did you go from running like half marathon or a marathon to doing 100K races?
I mean, in the most obvious possible way, just started running longer distances, just longer and longer and longer.
Yeah. But was it like, hey man, I'm going to do a marathon and then I'm going to do 10 more kilometers and then you did 50, 60, 70 and then 100? Or did you
actually, no. You know what? I signed up for my first 100K having never run a marathon before. And,
wow.
But in the training that I did for the 100K, I had to run a marathon a few times just to get the distance in the legs. But
did you get like crazy high?
Did I get what?
Did you get like, some people say that they have these crazy out of body experiences.
All right. Yeah. I think when I did a 100-mile race.
So that's like 200K almost?
160. I did a 100-miler back in January and that was running through the night. And there were times then where it felt a little bit trippy and like, out of body. And you completely lose track of time and all that kind of thing for hours. Because you just can't see anything apart from like torchlight in front of you. That's it. But I think with these sort of things, you've got to just set the goal really high and then work out how to get there. Hello.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Because if you say to yourself, "Oh, I'm going to run a marathon this year," and then the year after I'm going to run another 5 miles on top of that or 10 miles on top of that, it'll take you forever to get anywhere. Whereas if you just say, right, you know what, by the end of the year I'm going to run 100 miles, I'll work out how to get there. Then just as long as you've said you're going to do it, you stick by it and you just make it happen.
Yeah, man.
So what about 42 marathons in 42 days?
Well, my advice for that one is don't try and do 42 marathons in 42 days unless you've really trained and conditioned yourself to be able to achieve that. And even then, expect to become injured and not do it. And therefore, don't hype it too much because failure is likely.
That sounds like the advice of a smart man. Emil, back to you.
Do you know who Eddie Lizard is?
Eddie Lizard.
Eddie
Yes,
Izzard.
Eddie
Eddie Izzard. Yeah.
Eddie Lizard.
Do you know he ran a marathon, or he did these crazy races through Africa.
Yeah.
Where he did like a marathon every day for I don't know how long it was. And,
he did it twice.
They had to stop him. They're like, if you run through this place, they're gonna fuck you up. Like, he ran through some dangerous places in Africa.
Yeah.
And he did so. Did he do so like in high wheels, or did he do so dressed as a woman?
No.
Well, he didn't. He does dress as a woman, but he's done that 2 or 3 times, and it's normally 30 or 40 marathons in a row, one a day.
Yeah, and he had never run before.
No, never run, never trained for it.
So he jumped it.
But one advantage for him is that he has a team around him. He has physios, he has doctors that can help every single night ice baths.
Yeah, the guy's also overweight though, right?
It's
not like that in his regular life. He's an all right dude that doesn't weigh that much, and then he decided to start running. Dude's overweight. He's a comedian. He's in show business, so he's probably, on a lot of substances. But you gotta have something in your brain that will make you go, all right, I'm doing 30 marathons now. Never trained for it, and just fucking go.
Yeah, that's pretty insane. He's a bit of an extreme character though, Eddie Izzard. Although he's a comedian and transgender, he wanted to be in the military. Like, he wanted to be special forces, and he's got that extreme nature to him. In fact, you guys are all familiar with one of my best mates, Craig Harper. Craig actually ran one of those marathons with Eddie Izzard. When he did the initial one, he was going through Scotland or Yorkshire, sorry, and Craig ran with him one day.
That's cool.
Crazy, man.
Yeah. I love the picture of Craig wearing with a fridge stuck to his back going up a mountain. That was something.
Yeah.
Good times. Emil, you left. Should we bring you back into this where we're talking about on your whiskey cast?
Yeah, so my phone got overheated, so I'm actually standing in the fridge to keep it cool. They call me a genius, but I don't really know why.
That's like a northern Sweden solution to shit. It's the kind of like duct tape WD-40.
Yeah, just go to the
I love how also you've being so polite because you're Nordic. You literally just sat and waited and listened to this marathon chat when we're meant to be talking about Brooks whiskey. She's going like, "I'll have my time. I'll talk about the fridge. I'll just stand in the fridge." Well, look, there's that damn cake. But what were you saying?
So we were talking about like doing the whiskey sour for next time because Mackmyra wanted to show us what they thought a Swedish whiskey sour is. So I thought we can help them out next Sunday to do our version of a Swedish whiskey sour and then see what happens. I think that could be a fun challenge for all of us.
Deal.
Yeah, man. Yeah, fuck yeah. Yeah, that could be fun.
And the winning drink would be hailed Brother Supreme on the Mackmyra website, right?
Yes.
Of course.
Yeah.
Fantastic. I love that.
That will be the only drink. But we also but we also, if you go into mackmyra.co.uk and you press in the promotion code, you press in, you see it over there, you see it a Sunday Mac, you will get a discount, and the discount that you get when you buy it, we'll send it back to the Schmucks in Barcelona or to Tristan. We'll see. It's a bit of
the best drink.
Exactly. But we'll see you next Sunday. I'm looking forward to see you guys. Hopefully I will not stand in a fucking...
Yeah, fuck yeah. Hey, you know what? Next Sunday, maybe we can do this from the bar.
He's lost audio. His phone's overheating again.
We got them overheated again.
Put the audio in the freezer. I mean, put the phone in the freezer.
We got it back.
Bye, guys.
Take it easy.
Bye, homie. Take care.